All right, Aquarius. So it's all about people wasting your time, but also feeling like it's more beneficial for you to do things on your own because of the people that you've had contact with. But it's also saying that that is not optimal for you right now. So use your time well. Make every moment count and then a leg up. Now, looking at this card, you would think that it's about managing your time, setting schedules, following through on things, but really it's specifically about the people that have wasted your time and needing to set those boundaries. So it says, someone could be wasting your time by asking questions they have no interest in answering. People not listening or repeatedly asking for assistance, but not heeding advice. Someone wishes to take up a great deal of your time in order to feel more important, listened to, and cared about. Set your boundaries. But then when you look at a leg up, it's so contradictory to that. It says very specifically that you've come to a point where going it alone is no longer optimal for you. Life has a way of presenting you with the perfect people to align with who can give you a leg up during the next phase of your journey. But considering that most of you have probably spent a lot of time with people who wasted your time, it would make sense that you feel like it's all about doing things on your own. You insist that your way is the right way. It's the only way. Nobody else is going to be able to assist you in where you're going. But like I said, with a leg up, that's not what this is about. It's saying that you need to open up to teamwork and interdependence, not codependence. But it would make sense that for a lot of you, it's like, I'm tired of dealing with people who are not on the same page as me. And that makes sense, but there may be somebody who could be beneficial to you. That could be somebody that you're working with. It could be a friend. It could be about in your relationship where somebody has wasted your time, but maybe things are changing. But I would say to you that maybe, now is not the time to think that it's your responsibility to take on all of the burdens, right? That there may be somebody who can kind of help you with that. But again, it's about setting boundaries. So stop wasting your time with people who want to waste your time. Now, going dark. This one, may be about spending too much time thinking about those people who have wasted your time. So you pulled gilded regret. The moon phase here is the waning crescent, and the stage is bargain. So after coming out of the exhaustion of anger, bargaining is where we refuse to deal with the feelings that we need to process in order to get to the acceptance. I like anger much better because I feel like it's more constructive. This is just like not really seeing the truth, right? And again, it's not for everybody. It's just for those of you who are in that dark place. So it says, I feel like living in the past. Please give me 5 more minutes to linger. The sentence says, memories are like floating underwater, safe, warm, and murky, yet they hold the scent of death. And then going dark says, the cage of our memories is the most gilded. Lingering to the past, savoring crumbs and flashes, hints and ifs. But is our sword, however is our shield. We follow the river against the currents to a sea of maybes. We cannot say life is here now, we just say life was here. So that even when the future builds day by day, we still look backward to memories and possibilities. Options we missed, things we lost, changes we fled. It's like staying in the twilight of conscience, in the blessed state of those 5 minutes between the time the alarm rings and the time when you actually have to wake up. Like little kids between the time mom calls and the time we need to wake up and run. But those 5 minutes are taking up too much time. And they are the drain of our energies, of our opportunities, of our future. The ifs are now gone. Whatever has been has already been, isn't it? So basically, you're wasting too much time going back on, the memories. Coulda, woulda, shoulda seems to be the theme for this first part of the month. And we all do it. We go back to the past and we play through these memories and we think of how it could have been. But the thing is that is not beneficial to you because it's already done and over with. We can't go back. All we can do is build toward the future. But like I said, for some of you, you may still be in this place wasting your own time going back and remembering people who have wasted your time. All right, Aquarius. Here's your overall, the 5 of Cups. Now, hopefully, we're getting past this. So disappointment, emotional pain, regret, having to deal with those emotions. I look at this and think you aren't on an island, but you may feel like you are on your own island right now and not really seeing, you know, what is still there, right? Because that's always been the message with the Five of Cups. But we'll see here. Now, in the past, the Queen of Cups. This I look at as, especially if we're talking about people wasting your time, the Queen of Cups for you, maybe how you were in the past, but that definitely has changed with the Five of Cups being the overall. So I look at the Queen not only as, you know, the other psychic in the deck, right? Because she has the ability to mirror back to other people what they are feeling. You know, the things that sometimes we don't want to see. But considering that you're looking at emotional pain, this can suggest that for some of you in the past, you may have been a little bit too giving of yourself. So I look at this as not emotional manipulation, but I look at this more as being taken advantage of emotionally because you were too open to a situation or a person who has let you down. You know, but this is not you anymore. This is who you may have been in the past because of a person you're dealing with. Male, female, water, doesn't matter. But this is, like I said, what I see as what is being internalized. Very nice. So in the present moment, you do have the Ace of Cups. So there is a new opportunity. But I think that for a lot of you, you're not really seeing how that can be fulfilled. But like I said, with the Five of Cups being the overall here, hopefully we're looking at this in the reverse, that, you know, you're kind of getting past all of this emotional disappointment because you're tired of putting yourself out there and making yourself available emotionally to people who would otherwise take advantage of you. But the Ace of Cups in the present moment, like I said, you know, you may not be seeing it as a viable opportunity here, but it is saying that this is a new beginning in love, a new beginning in emotional fulfillment, a new connection to spirit. You know, especially if your emotional well-being has been disrupted in the past. Future conditions, the Eight of Pentacles. So this is, you know, putting more focus and attention into different details that are going on in your life, not specifically, you know, putting in so much hard work into the hurt emotions, but more so like getting over it. But again, it's busting your ass, right? Working really hard. But the benefit here is always good with the Eight of Pentacles. The return and the payoff is good when you start putting your energy, your time, and your focus into what is going to work for you. But it does suggest that it is going to take a lot of hard work. Now, for some of you, if we're talking about a relationship here, it's like moving to the point where, you know, the opportunity is there, but one of the things that I say, especially when it comes to love readings, is that the Eight of Pentacles is not that great. It's not super bad, but when you have to put that much hard work into getting things back on track, it's not easy. You know, but I also say that because of the Five of Cups being your overall here. You know, so it's not the Three of Pentacles where you're looking at how we can make this situation work. This is realizing that there's going to be a lot of hard work ahead of you to get past that letdown, that disappointment. Your best path to follow, the King of Pentacles. Here is what I would say to you on this. So now, again, you know, I do think that this is going to be because of a person that you're dealing with. But when you're looking at this in terms of your advice, whether you're male or female, it's not just about being a little bit more practical about, you know, where your success is leading in your life and in your relationships here, but it's also about being a little bit more giving of your time and resources. That is the King of Pentacles. If you know how to create success, then it would make sense that in order for something to be successful, you need to be a part of this and share that knowledge. But I also look at this as, you know, being careful about being surrounded by people who are looking to gain something from you. You know, but we're looking at continued success here. And I do look at that Ace of Cups as a good thing. I don't think that this is a wasted opportunity. I think that it's very much there for you. The problem is the way that you feel like you've been treated in the past and how that is still affecting, you know, your overall energy with what is going on around you. In your environment, the Page of Pentacles, this to me has always been like starting over, starting at the bottom. Like, hi, my name is, You know, I look at the Page of Pentacles, and as far as the student, and again, we're talking about what is practical and what is realistic. But this is about you taking the information that has been learned through an experience and using it in a way where you can build toward what you are wanting to create. But it is starting at the bottom. You know, at the bottom of the ladder and working your way back up. But I do specifically think that this has to do with you and another person where you have been let down. Can you start over? Is it realistic? Is it practical to believe that there is something better that can be built? But with that Ace of Cups, like I said, I can't get past that because that to me is big. Even if it is in the reverse right now, there's still the opportunity for it to be in the upright. It wouldn't be there otherwise. That's kind of how I see that. But again, there's the realization that there's going to be a lot of hard work that needs to be put in. And it's not about what one person can gain from the other, but what can we share? What can we put in this together to build something practical? And it very well could be that you're dealing with somebody who may be learning from the experience with you. Not just you, but the other person that you're dealing with too. You know, like almost, I'm sorry, let's start over. Your hopes and your fears, the world, that's just basically saying that you're hoping that this chapter is going to come to a close. You know, and it's always a beautiful ending here with the world because you're talking about ending something in a very successful way, ending this chapter, you know, but feeling like you've done the right thing. You feel good about this ending. You know, it's never a difficult thing, but it's also about taking those steps to closure and ending, you know, the past situations. You know, so this is, for me, especially if we're dealing with a person here, you looking at it going, I hope that this is done once and for all. You know, but it's a good thing that that's exactly where your focus needs to be, especially with the Ace of Cups being there. Oh, coming out justice, damn, man. Right? And that may be the only way to get to where you think things have been corrected. People being held accountable for their actions, making amends for what was done, making sure that the choices that you're making here are fair and balanced. But the only way to do that is to put in a lot of hard work. But I feel like for you, it's the internal hard work. I'm not going to make myself as available as I was, but it's not that you're being defensive, but you're understanding that, you know, it's going to take hard work for you to get past that type of feeling. But it also depends on whether or not things are going to be fair and balanced and whether or not somebody is going to make amends for what they have created in your life. With that Five of Cups being let down, emotionally disappointed again, and then the Knight of Cups, and this is where after everything has been corrected, I think it's going to be a little bit more easier for you to follow your heart. But then I also think that some of you may be second guessing that, because really that is what the Knight of Cups is about. But like I've always said, you know, I love the Knights, but they don't really think about what they're doing. They're only doing what they feel like in the moment, you know, because it's about action. It's not about thinking about later on what that means. But let's start here with the Two of Pentacles. So with the Queen of Cups, you know, it would make sense that there's disappointment because you've tried to keep a situation going where, you know, you were not feeling good about it. And this is you going, I'm not dealing with this anymore. I need to decide, you know, what is not worth keeping up in the air anymore. But I do feel like this is you in the past here trying to keep a situation going where you're not happy. Now, looking at the King of Swords, the thing is it would make sense that we're getting away from, you know, thinking so emotionally and thinking a little bit more rationally. Now, this could definitely be about somebody who's giving you that leg up, you know, whether that is somebody that is helping with, you know, justice here, which literally could be legal situations, but I don't know, considering that we're talking about Aquarius, and Aquarius is a masculine sign with the King of Swords, what's being projected out for some of you may be, you know, trying to rationalize things rather than responding from an emotional place. I don't necessarily see this as, you know, somebody who's being an asshole or you being an asshole, right? But it's about not making decisions based on emotions anymore, you know, but I look at that with the Ace of Cups and the Page of Pentacles, and I think for you, you come to a place where you're thinking a little bit more clearly, but then so is the other person. And I think that they are trying to be very truthful and upfront and trying to correct a situation with you. Because again, the Five of Cups is what you are feeling. Now, as far as the King of Swords and what you are projecting out, like I said, it's, no longer being emotional, but being more logical. Because you've learned a lot through the process. And there is this beautiful opportunity, but let's think rationally about it and not, get so caught up in the emotions. But the thing is with the Knight of Cups, it's still there. So that to me not only shows the continued emotional attachment, but the want here to be able to kind of like follow your heart and go with what you are feeling on this, especially if that offer with that Ace of Cups is coming to you. So this could definitely be about the restored emotions here with the connection, but again, with the Eight of Pentacles, there's going to be a lot of hard work ahead. But I still look at justice as that is a good thing, right? And I don't think that it's about you seeking justice or wanting to, enforce that on somebody to hold them accountable. I think that that is what's coming naturally. But the Eight of Pentacles to me is not natural. And it's not easy. But there is a way to, get to this place where emotions start to lighten up instead of being so heavy. And purpose, what was the purpose of all of this? But you're finding your purpose within this. So adventure, I kind of tie that into the Knight of Cups, where it's like, you know what, I just need to take this adventure. But because of everything that you've learned on your adventures, it's important for you to teach by example. This is saying that, what you're experiencing is going to be something that you can share with other people and they can learn from. But again, you don't want to waste your time on people who are not going to listen to you and listen to your experience and your advice. But this could also about needing to teach yourself here to be a little bit more adventurous and find purpose in what you are experiencing. In faraway places, get ready for new horizons, and there's your adventure, right? But you could choose this path, or you could choose a different one, right? But faraway places is saying that you're going to go to places that you have never been before. There are new horizons that you need to look toward, right? But choosing your path, I look at that, especially with the Oracle cards, and think this is kind of like opening up the door to you getting away from people wasting your time and you being able to choose a path where you go toward, places you have never been before with people who are not going to be that way with you, right? But you're going to have to make the choice to see a new horizon ahead. And it may seem like it's a faraway place, but I do think that there is going to be renewed emotions here once things are corrected with justice. But there is still going to be a lot of hard work ahead of you in order to see where this Ace of Cups is going to go, where this new emotional beginning is going to go for you, and how that's going to be built here with the Page of Pentacles. But I still look at all of this as really good compared to where you came from.